Hello, fellow classmates. Today on my video blog dealing with intelligence gathering, I'm focusing on the use of confidential informants in gathering intelligence. This topic is very controversial, but many police agencies say that it is a necessary tool that the police and federal agents use in collecting intel. I'm sure it is important that with advanced knowledge of how a crime is going to go down, that if the police know in advance, it will make their job much easier. The problem I have is that using confidential informants in the fight on drugs, which is why they are mostly used on street level and local police departments, is the fight on drugs. I think it's a waste of public funds, and it's a waste of manpower to continue to use confidential informants in the 21st century. Also, most of the confidential informants that are used are drug heads themselves. They are known to use drugs. They use the money that they're paid by the police department to purchase drugs. Sometimes the information that these confidential informants supply to the police are not accurate, and at times it has cost people their lives, such as in 2006 in Atlanta, when a 92-year-old Katherine Johnson was awakened in the middle of the night by the Red Dogs, which is a police force of a part of the Atlanta Police Department, kicking down her front door. Of course, she was 92 years old, and she had a small .22 caliber gun that she kept in her home, and she shot toward the door, not knowing it was the police. She lived in a high crime area in southwest Atlanta. Once the police entered her house, they returned fire and struck her at least 6 times, killing her. After the investigation for this, at least 14 Atlanta police officers were disciplined because of this bad information that they had received from a confidential informant. Another confidential informant came forward and said that the police department actually told them that he needed to lie to the federal agency that was investigating this incident, the GBI, and say that he had bought drugs from that house. And this informant said he never told them that he bought drugs from this house. So that was just one case where bad information and a bad relationship between officers and a CI did not go well. Confidential informants are also used in the federal system by the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency. There was a famous case where in 2010, it was reported on National Public Radio that the DEA used a Mexican drug runner as a confidential informant in order to bring down some drug lords in Mexico. This agent, his name was Guillermo Payo. He walked across the border and confronted the DEA and said that he had information concerning drug smuggling. He had so much information that he kept the DEA very busy. Over a 4-year period of time, the DEA paid him over $250,000. He said he never needed the money. He just thought he wanted to do some good. But while he was doing this good, while he was telling on fellow drug runners in Mexico, he was still running drugs. He was stopped at the border with over 100 pounds of marijuana loaded in the seat and under the floorboard of his truck. He never got in trouble for this because he was being protected by the United States federal system. Once the Mexican authorities found out that he was giving out information to DEA, they raided a farm where he lived at. On that farm, they found over 12 dead bodies that had been killed and buried there where he worked at. He said he never killed anyone, but he was present when some people were killed. He was passing this information on to the DEA as it was going down. He was even on the phone at one time with the DEA while a person was being tortured. But this confidential informant was protected. Finally, once the DEA had got all the information they needed from him, he was arrested on immigration charges, but he couldn't be sent back to Mexico because his life would be in danger. So right now, he sits in a United States jail waiting to be extradited back to Mexico. That's just another example of why I'm against confidential informants. I think with the technology that we have here in America today, there should be no reason why we can't stop drugs from coming across the border. There should be no reason why low-level drug dealers are being put in a situation where they are informing on people in their community. I think police officers should be out doing their job. If they're against these drug runners and the people that they're prosecuting, then they shouldn't put anyone else's lives in danger. And then these confidential informants at times don't even have to appear in court because they are protected by law. So that concludes my report on intelligence gathering. I believe technology is more advanced than human intel gathering. Thank you all. Y'all have a great winter. See you in January.